Whatever my estimation of its quality, RWBY Season 4 was a hard watch for me. So much so that by the end, I was ready to throw in the towel. The reason for that is pretty simple and a risk any world-reshaping event takes. I lost the main reason I watched. I loved RWBY because I was invested in the dynamic between the main characters, and with them scattered to the four corners of Remnant, there was nothing really keeping me going. Sorry, I'm just not over the moon about a lot of the new stuff. So, Season 5 was really make it or break it, and I'm happy to say that Volume 5 made it.
Damn, just when I thought I was almost done.
I want to start by looking at the villains. Salem's Coven has not blown my mind, and furthermore, Cindy has seen better days, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's begin with Dr. Mustache. For the microscopic amount of screen time he gets, Watts is actually pretty fun in a major douchebag way. But his presence just doesn't feel significant. The new addition to the villain roster is the Cowardly Lion. Professor Lionheart is a craven heel, and he dies like a punk.
He died as he lived.
The question of his loyalty is answered fairly early on, and the only big reveal is the depth of his betrayal. This didn't really work. If that's the angle they wanted to go with, a motivation beyond sheer cowardice might have helped. Or at least some idea of the man he was before falling under Salem's sway. Then at least I would have had to ask how a great huntsman could have fallen so far. Now on to Cindy. She's just not what she used to be. Sadly, with Salem in play, even if the intention was to move Cinder to a Darth Vader role, she's ended up more as a Robin.
And not one of the good ones either, like Damien.
I've never liked her new look, and the ready-to-explode attitude is a far cry from the calm, collected mastermind she was before.
But she does completely destroy Jean emotionally.
The only really compelling villain in Salem's clique is Hazel. The big guy has an awesome power set as Dust Hulk, and a genuinely compelling reason why he's working for the witch. He blames Ozpin for the death of his sister. However, the best villains come from outside. First off, there's Adam. He doesn't have a huge amount of screen time, but he's really well flushed out by Blake just talking about him. This is a trick I like a lot. Having other characters have conversations about the villain can really give them a presence. But the star, as far as the baddies go, and I'm honestly not sure that's the right term, is Raven. In her previous appearances, Ray's been a bit underwhelming.
It's hard to have a character when you just stand there and never take your helmet off.
Sergeant?
You heard me.
Anyway, in Season 5, we get a very clear look at Raven, and what her goals are. She's ruthless, complex, and when she goes all out in the last episode, just wow. The reason why I wanted to look at the antagonistic forces first is because it helps to illustrate one of RWBY's biggest problems, namely the superplot. Think of RWBY as a sandwich.
Is she also a master of unlocking?
No, the show. Wow, that is confusing. Anyway, the very top layer is about stopping Salem.
Unless, of course, we discover another layer on top of that, which is always possible.
The main plot of getting the relic is below that, and personal stories and such are below that. The superplot fails because Salem is a fairly weak antagonist. She's in an awkward position of being too well defined to be threatening as a mysterious force, and not well defined enough to stand as a character. Let's look at some examples. Cthulhu is incredibly nebulous. What does he do? What does he want? It doesn't actually matter. He's so big and so weird he can get away with it. On the other end of the spectrum is Thanos.
The movie version.
He wants to kill off half the universe to save the universe from destroying itself. He watched his own planet die a gruesome death, and no matter the cost, he's not going to let any others repeat it. For Salem, we only have drunk Uncle Crow telling us that it'll be bad, and stop asking questions. As a result, the plot feels pretty meandering.
And the fact that the story's a scavenger hunt sure don't help.
Now let's look at Season 5's positives. RWBY does two things very well: creating charming characters and character dynamics, and action scenes. and fortunately both of those are strong this season. Starting with Oz. Oscar is okay, but Oz is the man. He's cool, he's funny, and I like seeing him putting the team through their paces. Good old Uncle Crow is his charming roguish self, and it's great to see him playing off the younger characters. Back in Menagerie, the family dynamic between Blake, her parents, and her boyfriend is consistently funny. But the highlight, the piece de resistance, is this.
Why are you such a sucker for group hugs?
I had to wait almost 2 full seasons for this. Give me a break.
And tell me, was it worth it?
Yes, but never make me wait this long again.
Or
I'll leave an unflattering comment on the next World of Remnant. Finally, let's look at the action. After the extended setup that was last season, we get multiple large-scale brawls. The choreography is good, as you'd expect. But most importantly, the bad guys seem to have lost their just-as-planned plot armor. The good guys were in desperate need of a win, and Season 5 gives it to us. I don't think spoiler warnings are actually necessary at this point, but I'm still not going to spoil Raven's big fight, cause it's just the best. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in RWBY Volume 5. On the good side, Raven, Hazel, and Adam are compelling in the antagonist role. The action scenes were great, and the gang's all back together. On the other hand, Lion-O's useless uncle is a letdown. The overall plot tends to meander, and Salem needs some work. But in spite of its problems, Volume 5 is just what RWBY needed, so I give it a 4 out of 5. Now, if you're interested in reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel right here on YouTube. And find my Facebook and DeviantArt pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.